What if I told you that some of the best business opportunities of 2026 and 2027 aren't hiding inside artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, dropshipping, or the latest social media trend? What if they're hiding in things most people completely ignore? Dirty windows, vending machines, commercial kitchens, parking lots, ice machines, grease traps, property maintenance, waste management, equipment servicing. Businesses that don't look exciting. Businesses that don't go viral on TikTok. Businesses that probably won't make you feel like a tech billionaire when you tell your friends what you do. But here's the interesting part. People and companies pay for these services every single day. And when you build them correctly, some of these businesses can generate recurring revenue, employ other people, expand into multiple locations, and eventually become much larger than the simple service you started with. So in today's video, we're going to explore 20 overlooked and boring businesses that entrepreneurs should be paying attention to in 2026 and 2027. And I'm not going to tell you that any of these businesses will automatically make you rich. There are no guarantees in business. Instead, we're going to look at something much more important: why these businesses exist, who pays for them, how they can be started, and how they can potentially be scaled. And stay until the end, because the final businesses on this list are some of the most overlooked opportunities in the entire model. 1. Commercial window cleaning. Let's start with something incredibly simple. Commercial window cleaning. Think about office buildings and hotels, restaurants, retail stores, apartment buildings, shopping centers. They all have windows, and those windows don't stay clean forever. Rain, dust, pollution, fingerprints, birds, construction residue. All of these things create a simple problem. Someone has to clean them. Now here's what makes this interesting. You're not necessarily selling a one-time cleaning. You can sell a maintenance schedule, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly. Instead of asking, how can I find another customer tomorrow? You can build a customer base that needs your service repeatedly. And that's one of the biggest themes throughout this video. Don't just look for transactions. Look for recurring problems. A restaurant doesn't need its windows cleaned once in its entire existence. An office building doesn't magically stay clean forever. The problem comes back. And when a problem comes back, there can be another opportunity to serve the customer. 2. Parking lot, maintenance, and line striping. Here's another business most people don't think about. Parking lot maintenance. When you drive into a shopping center, office complex, school, warehouse, or commercial property, you probably don't think about the lines on the ground. But property managers do. Parking spaces need to remain visible. Directional markings need maintenance. Accessible parking spaces need appropriate markings. Old surfaces may need refreshing. And eventually, parking lots need repairs, cleaning, sealing, or resurfacing. You don't necessarily have to begin by becoming a massive paving company. You can start with a specific service, then expand. For example, line striping, parking lot cleaning, sign installation, surface maintenance, then eventually, commercial property maintenance. The key is to start with a narrow service and build relationships with property managers, because one property manager might control multiple properties, and that's a powerful idea. One customer can represent many locations. 3. Vending machines. Now let's talk about something almost everyone has seen: the vending machine. Most people see a machine. An entrepreneur should see a tiny automated retail store. Imagine putting a machine inside an office, a warehouse, an apartment complex, a gym, a hotel, a manufacturing facility. People want convenience. They're working, they're waiting, they're exercising, they're staying in a building, and they may want a drink or snack without leaving. But here's the mistake beginners make. They buy the machines first. That's backwards. Find the location first. A great vending machine in a terrible location can perform badly. An ordinary machine in a fantastic location can potentially perform much better. So instead of asking, how many machines can I buy? Ask, how many profitable locations can I secure? That's a completely different mindset. 4. Micro markets. Now take vending one step further. Imagine walking into a large office or warehouse. Instead of seeing one vending machine, you see a small self-service store. Refrigerated drinks, snacks, food, convenience products, a self-checkout system. This is the idea behind a micro market. Micro markets can potentially serve locations with enough employees or customers to support a larger selection. but they also require more capital, technology, inventory management, and operational control. So this isn't necessarily where you start. You prove the location, you understand the customers, you learn the economics, then you expand. The bigger lesson is, start with a simple model, prove demand, and then increase the size of the opportunity. 5. Commercial ice machine maintenance. Here's one people almost never talk about. Commercial ice machine maintenance. Restaurants need ice, hotels need ice, cafes need ice, food service businesses need ice, and commercial ice machines require appropriate cleaning and maintenance. Now, I'm not saying you should start repairing refrigeration systems if you don't have the training. That's not the point. You can build a business around appropriate cleaning, inspection, scheduling, documentation, and maintenance coordination. For technical repairs, you can work with qualified professionals. Think about the business model. A restaurant has an ice machine. You service it. You document the service. You schedule the next service. You remind the customer, then you do it again. That's a recurring relationship, and recurring relationships are incredibly valuable. 6. Commercial grease management. If you've ever worked around restaurants, you know that commercial kitchens create grease, lots of it. Restaurants therefore need systems for managing fats, oils, and grease. That brings us to grease trap and grease interceptor services. This isn't glamorous. Nobody posts Instagram pictures saying, "Look at my beautiful grease management company." But businesses don't pay for services because they're glamorous. They pay because the problem needs to be solved. And grease management can be a recurring requirement. You could operate directly where permitted and qualified, or build a coordination company that works with properly licensed waste service providers. You manage the customer relationship. The schedule, the documentation, the service, the next appointment. Again, the boring problem becomes the business opportunity. 7. Commercial pressure washing. Pressure washing is another example, but don't think only about houses. Think commercial, restaurants, shopping centers, warehouses, office buildings, apartment complexes, parking structures, walkways, exterior surfaces. Commercial property owners care about appearance, and businesses often want maintenance performed without disrupting operations. That creates opportunities for early morning, evening, or scheduled maintenance services where appropriate. And pressure washing can become an entry point into something much larger. You start with exterior cleaning. Then customers ask, "Do you also clean the windows? Do you clean the parking lot? Do you clean the trash area? Do you handle other exterior maintenance?" Now one service becomes multiple services. 8. Bin and waste container cleaning. Here's another business people rarely dream about. Commercial bin cleaning. Restaurants, apartment buildings, hotels, shopping centers. Businesses generate waste. Waste containers become dirty, and someone has to clean and maintain the area around them. This is especially interesting because you can potentially sell recurring schedules, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. The important part is not the bin, it's the recurring service. If you can build a route containing dozens of businesses in the same geographic area, your economics can potentially improve because you're servicing multiple customers in one trip. That's another theme. Route density. Don't build a business where you're driving an hour to serve one customer. Build clusters. 9. Commercial solar panel. Cleaning. Solar installations continue to create another maintenance opportunity. Panels collect dust, dirt, pollen, and other debris. Depending on the environment, regular cleaning may be useful. The opportunity isn't necessarily to become a solar installer. You can specialize in solar panel maintenance and cleaning, commercial buildings, warehouses, industrial facilities, large property owners. The more solar infrastructure gets installed, the more owners have to think about maintaining it. And once again, maintenance can create recurring relationships. 10. Property maintenance. Here's where several of these ideas begin connecting. Instead of selling one service, you could build a commercial property maintenance company. Imagine one customer. You provide window cleaning, pressure washing, parking lot cleaning, bin area maintenance, exterior upkeep. Now the customer doesn't have 5 different vendors to manage. They have one. And that changes your value proposition. You're no longer saying, "I'm a window cleaner." You're saying, "We help keep your commercial property maintained. That's a much bigger business. 11. Commercial exhaust and kitchen cleaning. Restaurants have another recurring problem. Commercial kitchen exhaust systems. Grease and residue can accumulate in areas that require specialized cleaning and maintenance. This is another service where training, equipment, insurance, and local requirements matter. You shouldn't perform specialized work without understanding the relevant standards. But the business opportunity is clear. Restaurants have equipment that needs maintenance, and restaurant owners would rather focus on serving customers than remembering every maintenance task. A company that reliably handles those tasks can become valuable. 12. Commercial floor care. Think about hotels, hospitals, schools, offices, retail stores, large commercial buildings. They have floors. Those floors get dirty, they get scratched. They require cleaning and maintenance. Commercial floor care can include specialized cleaning, polishing, stripping, refinishing, and maintenance depending on the flooring type and your training. Again, it's not exciting. But ask yourself, does the customer need it? If the answer is yes, that's what matters. 13. Laundry equipment service. Here's another overlooked category. Commercial laundry, apartment buildings, hotels, student accommodation, care facilities, laundromats. These businesses depend on washing and drying equipment. Machines break. Machines require maintenance. Customers don't want laundry facilities filled with broken equipment. This creates opportunities around equipment maintenance, repair coordination, cleaning, payment system support, laundry room management, and eventually, full laundry facility management. 14. Commercial pest management. Nobody wants pests in a restaurant. Nobody wants them in a warehouse. Nobody wants them in a hotel. Nobody wants them in a food facility. That makes pest management a recurring business. And again, you're solving a problem that customers can't simply ignore. However, pest control work can involve licensing, regulations, and chemical handling requirements depending on the location. So the lesson isn't, buy chemicals and start spraying. The lesson is, identify a recurring commercial problem and build a properly qualified service around it. 15. Commercial security system maintenance. Businesses depend increasingly on cameras, access control systems, alarms, monitoring equipment, digital security infrastructure, and equipment needs maintenance. A company can potentially specialize in installation, maintenance, inspection, or coordination depending on its qualifications and local regulations. You don't necessarily need to build the technology yourself. You can become the company that businesses call when their systems need attention, and commercial clients can create recurring contracts. 16. Commercial sign maintenance. Here's a surprisingly overlooked opportunity. Businesses rely on signs, storefront signs, parking signs, directional signs, illuminated signs, building signs. Signs get damaged, lights fail, surfaces fade, mounting hardware needs attention. A company specializing in sign maintenance can work with retail chains, restaurants, property managers, shopping centers, hotels, franchise businesses, and once again, one corporate customer could potentially have dozens or hundreds of locations. 17. Commercial window and glass maintenance. We've already discussed window cleaning, but here's the bigger idea. Glass maintenance, storefront glass, glass doors, interior partitions, lobby glass, display windows. Commercial buildings can have huge amounts of glass, and glass has one interesting characteristic. When it's dirty, people notice. That makes the value easy to demonstrate. Before, after, clean, dirty, simple. Businesses understand visual results. 18. Document shredding and information disposal. Now let's move away from physical cleaning. Businesses generate documents. Some contain confidential information. Companies eventually need appropriate document destruction. That creates opportunities for scheduled document pickup, secure destruction, business-to-business service contracts. Again, this is not glamorous, but businesses have an ongoing need for secure information disposal. Depending on the jurisdiction and service offered, there may be privacy, transportation, chain of custody, and destruction requirements. So professionalism and compliance become part of the product. You're not simply selling shredding, you're selling peace of mind. 19. Commercial equipment maintenance coordination. Here's one of my favorite concepts from this entire list. Instead of becoming the technician for everything, become the maintenance coordinator. Imagine a restaurant has ice machines, refrigerators, ovens, exhaust systems, dishwashers, freezers, grease equipment. The owner doesn't want to remember when every machine needs service. You can potentially build a system that tracks equipment, service dates, maintenance schedules, technicians, invoices, repairs. You become the person who makes sure the problems get handled. And that's a very different business model. You're selling organization plus reliability plus convenience. 20. Commercial facility services. And finally, we arrive at the biggest idea. What happens when you combine all of these? You get commercial facility services. Imagine a property manager has one building. They need windows cleaned, parking lot maintained, bins cleaned, exterior surfaces washed, signs maintained, equipment serviced. You could coordinate multiple services through one company. At first, you might personally provide one service, then you build partnerships, then you hire teams, then you manage contracts, then you operate across multiple properties. Eventually, you're no longer selling a single task. You're managing an entire network of commercial services. The big secret: boring businesses can be powerful. Now, let's step back. What do these 20 businesses have in common? They're not necessarily exciting. They're not always trendy. They're not businesses people brag about at parties. But they share several characteristics. Number 1, real customers. Businesses and property owners actually need these services. Number 2, recurring demand. The problem often comes back. Number 3, B2, B customers. Businesses can sometimes be valuable customers because one account may represent multiple locations. Number 4, possibility of scaling. You can potentially move from one customer to 10, to 50, to hundreds, then hire employees and build systems. Number 5, they solve problems, and this may be the most important point. Businesses exist to solve problems. Stop asking what business is hot. One of the biggest mistakes aspiring entrepreneurs make is asking, what business is trending? Instead ask, what problem exists repeatedly, and who already pays to solve it? That's a much better question, because trends come and go, problems remain. People will always need cleaning, maintenance, transportation, food, property management, repairs, security, waste management, convenience, and specialized services. How to choose your business. Don't choose one of these ideas simply because it sounds profitable. Ask yourself 5 questions. Question 1, do customers in my area actually need this? Research before investing. Question 2, how much does it cost to start? Equipment, insurance, licensing, employees, transportation, marketing. Question 3, can I get recurring customers? This is critical. Question 4, can I eventually hire someone else to do the work? If the answer is yes, the business may have greater scalability. Question 5, can I sell additional services to the same customer? This is where businesses become much more interesting. The $10,000 customer. Here's an example. Imagine you have a property management customer. Instead of selling them one $200 service, you eventually provide several services. Maybe window maintenance, parking maintenance, exterior cleaning, bin area service, equipment coordination. Now that customer could potentially be worth thousands of dollars per year. You didn't find 5 customers. You found one customer with 5 problems. That's how you should start thinking. From one service to an empire. Look at the progression. You start cleaning windows. Then customers ask for pressure washing. You add pressure washing. A property manager asks whether you can handle another building. You take the contract. Then they ask about parking maintenance. You partner with a specialist. Then they ask about equipment maintenance. You coordinate qualified technicians. Eventually, you become the facility services company. This is how many boring businesses can evolve. Not overnight, not magically, but through customer relationships. Don't try to build everything at once. This is extremely important. If you're starting from zero, don't look at this list and say, I'm going to start 20 businesses. No, that's a recipe for chaos. Choose one, study it, talk to customers, understand the economics, get your first customer. deliver the service, get another customer, document the process, then hire, then scale. Only after the first system works should you consider adding another service. The 90-day challenge. Here's a simple challenge. For the next 90 days, choose one business. Research 20 competitors. Identify 100 potential customers. Speak with at least 20 decision makers. Find out, what do they currently pay? What do they dislike about their current provider? How often do they need the service? What would make them switch? What would make them stay? Then create your offer. Don't guess. Ask the market. Final message. The world doesn't need another person chasing every trend. It needs entrepreneurs who can identify problems and build reliable solutions. Maybe your opportunity isn't a glamorous startup. Maybe it's a commercial cleaning company. Maybe it's vending. Maybe it's property maintenance. Maybe it's equipment servicing. Maybe it's a specialized B2B service nobody talks about. And that's okay, because your customers don't care whether your business is exciting. They care whether you show up, you do the job correctly. You communicate, you solve the problem, and you make their life easier. That's the foundation of a real business. So stop asking, what's the next big thing? Start asking, what problem will businesses continue paying someone to solve in 2026, 2027, and beyond? Because sometimes the greatest opportunity isn't hiding in the future. It's sitting right in front of everyone. Everyone just decided it was too boring to notice. And that's exactly why you should look closer. Call to action. If this video gave you a new perspective on business, subscribe to the channel because we're going to continue breaking down practical business opportunities, entrepreneurship, investing, and strategies for building income-producing businesses. And here's your challenge. Don't just watch this video. Pick one idea, research it, write down the customer, the problem, the service, the startup cost, the price, the competition, and how you will get your first customer. Because information doesn't change your life. Execution does. I'll see you in the next video.